Let's go.
2.
The views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's hosts, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any of our sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience.
Oh, yeah! Good Tuesday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. Tonight, sponsored by Southern Gym Photo Booth and Start. Not only do we bring fun to your event, we make it picture perfect. And by our newest sponsor, Designs by Pros, decals and graphics, custom made. Visit Design by Pros on Facebook. This is your show, coming to you on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday and Saturday night. You control and run this show. We are just a rudder that steers this big old vessel. We bring it to you first for education, discussion, and debate of local news, politics, and sports, as well as the latest on the COVID-19 situation. We have you covered from the Middleburg to Melrose to McIntosh, from Lake City to Lake Butler to Lake Como, from Waldo to Williston, from Lottie to Lulu, where I see my family members of the Sasquatch tribe, my Uncle Sally Ray, my Aunt Bobby John, and my cousin Sue Ellen Billy, and all points in between, including Gainesville, Palaca, Ocala, and of course right here in beautiful Stark, Florida. Now here's your On the Spot team making it happen every single week. First, putting it all together behind the scenes, our executive producer, Super Dave Holland. Say hello, David.
Hello, David.
And keeping the flow to the show is our director, Michael the Dragon Slayer Heater. Say hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
All right, rounding out the team is Austin Storm Chaser Stevens and John Better Than Snow's Probst. They are on a sabbatical right now, but will be back with us real soon. And our great media partners, Eagle Country 106.3 FM, with Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Velez, and the Bradford County Telegraph, Mr. Crawford, Mr. Smelly, and the Tillmans. And now our co-host, to my right, your left, with local news and breaking information, Mitchell, the local voice on current events, Gunter.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And to my left, your right, he is our historian and governmental whiz, Byron the Freedom Fighter Bagwell.
Good evening, infidels.
And I'm your host, David Rodgers, the voice of the Bradford High Tornadoes, and
the show pony.
All right, welcome to the show. We are coming to you live from the On the Spot studios right here along historic Call Street in beautiful downtown Stark, Florida. Only 277 miles from fluffy Landing, Florida. And if you don't think that's right, go back to that just a second. No, you don't have to. It's 20 miles west of Destin. How about that, in the Panhandle? Yep, I swear. It
Sounds like a place we ought to go visit.
They sure should. So let's get started, as we always do, with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic wisdom from the freedom fighter himself, Mr. Byron Bagwell. Let's all bow our heads and go to prayer. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day, dear Lord. Thank you for everything that you do for us each and every day. Thank you for letting us wake up to another beautiful day in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America. Thank you for our armed forces, dear Lord. Amen. The greatest fighting group in the world today, dear Lord. Keep a hedge of protection over them as they are protecting our freedom and our rights from foreign and domestic enemies, dear Lord. Please bring them back safely to their families. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day, that it goes into the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Again, thank you for the beautiful week you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for the beautiful Memorial Day weekend we just had, dear Lord. Thank you for all those that gave everything, their lives, dear Lord, for this great country, the United States of America. Thank you again, and keep us protected throughout the week. Help us out with this latest COVID-19, dear Lord, as we start to maybe see a turn, that it starts dissipating a little bit, dear Lord, and that you touch each and every one that is sick or is becoming sick, dear Lord, that you heal them right away. Again, thank you, and we ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ, and the congregation says,
Amen.
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 All right, we're going to stand for the pledge right here, and I'm going to ask Mr. Dave Holland, if he'd lead us in our pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. All right. Before we delve into other things, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, the historian, the governmental whiz on all politics, world government, and things happening in our great country today. That's you, Mr. Byron Bagwell. Good evening. Welcome in. We got busy with your floor this weekend, but we'll talk about that here in just a little bit.
Sure.
And what do you have for us this Tuesday night? I know you got a couple of great things going on.
I sort of wanted to give a quote by Joe Biden that he made recently, but I decided not to do that.
Okay.
Decided it might get us in some trouble, so I just decided better.
Okay. All right.
So I chose this one instead. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
I'm trying to remember who said that. I've heard this. Trying to remember who said this. Would that be TJ? No.
That would be my great.
Oh, Mr. Benjamin Franklin.
That would be Mr. Benjamin Franklin.
All right. I love Benjamin Franklin.
I do too. He's got some great quotes.
Yes, he does.
Some absolutely great quotes.
Byron, I know that we just had Memorial Day weekend, and we talked about this while we was at your house doing some things. And, sometimes people, Mitchell, don't know exactly. They just think it's, let's throw some burgers on, let's throw some hot dogs on, let's go to the beach, let's do this and do that. But you got to remember why you have that 3-day holiday, and that's because most, and a lot of our great men and women lost their lives for this great country.
Better believe it.
Yes. And let me tell you, that is the ultimate sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen, that anyone can give if you give your life for this great country, where we can do a show like this on the spot with David Rodgers, where you can get up and go to work each and every morning and make a living for your family. Do the things that you want to do, the fun things that you want to do.
That's exactly right.
Do you know why? Because those great men and women laid their life down for this country.
And there, you hear some people talk about this and get really serious about this and say you shouldn't celebrate this day. And see, I kind of disagree with that.
I do too.
And the reason that I disagree with that is not out of disrespect for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
It's because they gave the ultimate sacrifice so we could do things like go to the lake, cook out.
That's right.
Have a cold one, spend time with our families.
Right.
They would want us to do that. They would want us to remember them and what they did.
Right.
But they would want us to actually go on living our lives the way we normally do.
That's right.
So what you're saying is it's less of a memorial and more of a celebration of life,
Should be.
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
It
That's
should be.
right.
It really should be. So I wrote this probably 4 years ago, and I post it every Memorial Day. And this is going to take a few minutes, but I want everybody to truly listen to this because it's a little bit long, but it will give you an idea of what the true patriots of this country have done for this country. There is a whisper on the wind that we only seem to hear on Memorial Day every year. It is an echo from places far and near. It emanates from places like Bunker Hill, New York, Concord, Lexington, and Yorktown from the American Revolution. Pensacola, Mobile, Baltimore, New Orleans, St. Mary's, and Fort Phillips from the War of 1812. Fort Sumter, Shiloh, Antietam, Gettysburg, Fort Donelson, the Stones River from the Civil War, Bellawood, Categoy, and I know I mispronounce that every single time, Hamel and Meuse from World War I, Midway, Guadalcanal, Normandy, Antwerp, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and Berlin from World War II, Pusan, Icheon, Seoul, Chosun, and Mig Alley from the Korean War, Kaesong, Dip and Ben.
Right.
That's Hamburger Hill for
Yeah,
those for the people who don't know that. Loc Ninh and Saigon from the Vietnam War, Kuwait, Karbala, Baghdad, Ramadi, Al-Fallujah, and Haditha, Mosul, Karbala, and Najaf from the Iraq conflict war, Kandahar, Tora Bora, Kabul, Wanat, Chora, Mazari Sharif from the Afghanistan war. It is the sound is the price of freedom. Its sound is the price of freedom. It whispers, never forget what we have done. Never forget why. Memorial Day is the day we remember those that started those whispers. But it is also important to remember the why. Liberty, justice, and freedom must be forever protected. This country is the last great hope of these gifts from God. It is still an exceptional place full of exceptional people. God bless our fallen. They gave all because they understood the whisper on the winds. God bless these United States of America, and a heartfelt thank you to all who have served or are still serving.
Wow. It's really powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you listen to that, and you'll be able to find that if you're friends with Mr. Bagwell. He posts this every Memorial Day, and it's out there, and it's still out there. So if you want to go and reread that for yourself, take it in a little bit more, soak it in. Go, please read that. Love that particular reading. That's a great writing, Byron, and just your mind, the way it thought about those things, really impresses me, brother. And I want to thank you for writing that. And it struck me hard.
It should. It should strike everybody hard, because we tend to forget that there have been a tremendous amount of men and women and children, what we would consider children, who have fought and died for what we have. And it means something. It should mean something to everybody.
Should.
These rights are worth fighting for, ladies and gentlemen. There's no other place in this world that has the rights that we have. So, in Memorial Day, have fun with your family, have fun with your friends, but give yourself a little time to reflect.
And remember why you're having that fun.
On the why.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, there's been a lot of people who have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes.
For that.
Lots of people.
For exactly that.
And, and some of these men and women never came back home.
Never.
And then
No.
you think about going to Hawaii and visiting the memorial of the USS Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and those sailors still tuned
Entombed.
inside of that
How
ship.
about this for you guys? And I know y'all know this too, Dave and Michael. Y'all should know this. You do know that we still got POWs in Nam, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There are still POWs that are over there, probably dead by now because it's been a while, but never, like you said, made it home.
That's right.
We didn't get all the POWs. There's prisoners of war over there.
Still there.
Still there.
And we just recently
Yeah.
got some of our
Got
service
service-
members back
yeah.
from North Korea.
Korea. Right.
So,
Yeah.
they're still out there. And
Just
and
remember.
just remember, I talk about this all the time, about how this is an exceptional place. Our liberties. I use that word all the time. People don't have that elsewhere in the world now. You can't speak out like I do. You can't speak out like Democrats do.
No.
Because normally there is either one or the other in power,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to let you talk out like that.
Right.
You're going to find yourself in a re-education camp like people do when they speak out in China.
Right.
So you just be thankful that you live in the greatest country in the world.
Thank you, Byron. I really appreciate that. What a great reading. Again, you can go back and catch that on his page. If you want to reread that, maybe we'll see if, Byron, do you mind if Michael Heater posts that on our
I
page?
don't mind at all.
We'll post that on our page as well on the spot, so you can go back and reread that. All right, moving on with the show. Before we delve into today's latest, we want to recognize our great sponsors who have been working hard with limited staff and changing hours as we're going through phase 2 right now. Mitchell, get ready to go into phase 3.
Gyms are back open.
Yes, this is our sponsor spotlight.
Does anybody know what the official name of COVID-19 is? It's not COVID-19.
No, you got me on that one.
It might got Michael Heater dashing now.
Go ahead.
It begins with SARS
Okay.
because guess what? SARS is also
Yeah, that's true.
a
Yeah.
COVID. It's a combination of SARS and COVID-19.
Right.
Not exactly in the same thing.
Right.
I saw that the other day, and I was like, well, we've seen this before.
And we'll get into that as we go on. Why don't you read off those 4 sponsors right there, my brother?
Fun Point Food and Arcade, Southern Gym Photography, Miracle Automotive and Recovery, Dependable Waste Services.
How about this, though, Mitchell?
Sure. How about Williams Jewelry on Call Street? Brittany Leanne Creations, Saban and Schuster Law Firm, and Downtown Grill.
And how about this one? Harry Business of Start, Boogie Nights DJ Service, designed by Probst, and on-the-spot lawn maintenance. And now, let's get into our quick and dirty, tonight brought to you by Fun Point Food and Arcade and Start. Check out the all-new menu on Facebook or at www.funpointstart.com. We begin in Bradford County, where the Florida Highway Patrol is continuing their investigation into a crash that killed 1 person. The driver of the vehicle was discovered under the car after it overturned early Sunday morning on County Road 18 near Brooker. Columbia County deputies are asking for the public's help in locating a missing man. Jeffrey Alonzo Johnson, 61, was last seen in the 5 Points area between Lake City and Interstate 10 along US 441. He is a black male with a long gray beard. He was last seen wearing a white shirt and plaid pants, but had other clothes with him. Johnson suffers from dementia, ladies and gentlemen, and left on foot 3 days ago to travel to his girlfriend's home in Miami or Tampa. Due to his mental state, he is considered endangered. Anyone who has any information, please call the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 386-719-2005 or dial 911. The City of High Springs and Alachua County Health Department will offer free COVID-19 testing at the High Springs Civic Center on Wednesday, June 3rd from 9 a.m. to noon, but it is by appointment only. To schedule an appointment, please call City Hall at 386-454-1460. City staff will be available 8 to noon this week and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. next week for that scheduling. A man in his 50s was killed early this morning after a traffic crash on J. Turner Butler Boulevard in Jacksonville, Florida. But not from the crash itself. The encounter turned into a struggle, and the driver made threats. He had a gun. A Jacksonville sheriff's officer stopped to render assistance when a car crashed around 3 a.m. today. During his conversation with the driver, that man attacked the officer, and at one point, the man claimed he had a gun. After deploying his taser twice, the officer then used sidearm to stop the suspect who was attempting to get back to his vehicle. The officer, thank God, was not injured. Clay County deputies stopped a suspicious person, which led to the recovery of 25 grams of crystal meth. The suspect was subsequently arrested. The encounter took place on Louis Carter Road in the Clay Hill area after a citizen called in a suspicious person walking in the area during the overnight yesterday morning. The Florida Department of Environmental Regulation is investigating a fish kill in Small Lake south of Ocala in Sumter County. Nearly 100 fish were killed in the villages on May 23rd due to uncertain causes. Wow. Bradford County Emergency Management reminds everyone that this year's disaster preparedness sales tax holiday kicks off this week, starting this Friday, May 29th, and running through June 4th. To purchase extra supplies for your hurricane kit, be sure to like and follow BCEM on Facebook for breaking weather alerts, safety tips, and much more. Speaking of hurricanes, here is your weather update sponsored by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights, Florida. Find AWS on Facebook for the latest information.
Hey,
You got to bring it in, Mr. Michael Heath.
Hey, good evening, gang. Hey, a sweltering heat wave with record-breaking temperatures is expected the rest of this week through much of the west, stretching from California all the way through towards St. Louis as high pressure builds across the region. Numerous excessive heat warnings are already in effect across Arizona, California, and Nevada. Now, shifting eastward, locally heavy rain is possible in the lower Mississippi Valley and southeast over the next few days. We have seen a plume of moisture bring rain across Florida yesterday and today, but that will ease up as we go through the next 48 hours. Tomorrow will be variably cloudy skies with showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms in the morning, more so over Clay, St. Johns, and Duval counties than you would over Bradford, but then the chance of rain and showers across the region throughout the afternoon. Highs topping out 87 to about 93 degrees with a southerly wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The chance of rain running at about 50%. It will become partly cloudy through the overnight hours tomorrow with a passing shower possible but unlikely, and we're only looking at about a 20% chance of rain. Taking a quick look at the tropics, Tropical Storm Arthur, of course, as you know, faded away. There is no activity going on in the current tropics as we're working. However, a reminder that tropical development is very likely because the sea surface temperatures are really, really warm. They're pushing 90 degrees in certain areas. And don't forget, Monday morning is the start of the Atlantic hurricane season.
Yay!
Wow, all right.
Okay, back to you.
All right. Just a reminder that hurricane season kicks off, like Michael Heater said, next Monday, and we will be monitoring and staying on top of any developments. Disaster Preparedness 2020 Sales Tax Holiday is May 29th through June the 4th. Here's a list of things that you can buy and different price ranges. We will have Michael Heater scan this in and put it up on our website. I don't want to go over this because it's a long list, but please take a look at it. Again, those dates are May 29th through June the 4th. All right. Thank you once again, Michael Heater, for bringing the weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service of Keystone Heights. Find AWS on Facebook and get a local forecast sent right to you. We finally got it, and we now know who Mitchell's great-great-great-grandfather really is. Drum roll, please. And it is none other than the second governor of New York and the first Chief Justice of the United States, John J. Gunter. How about that? All right, John J. Gunter. How about that, Mitchell? John J. How about that, Mitchell? I'll tell you what, man.
Now, that one's one I would actually take if I
Yes,
were you.
if I was you,
John
you would
J.
take that. Don't you want to take that one?
Keep trying. Keep digging.
Oh, what?
Keep digging.
Them
All right,
Gunters,
we'll keep digging.
them Gunters are everywhere.
Gunters are everywhere. Gunters are everywhere.
Wait a minute, the guy, we're talking about the guy that
Yes.
co-wrote
Yes.
the
Federal
papers.
papers.
And he's not going to take that?
You're not
Oh,
going to take
goodness.
that? Okay, we got to keep digging then.
Keep digging.
Well, again, before we get to our local report,
That was a cousin of mine.
Oh, okay. Now
we are your show team. We are known as, and by several different names, the Sultans on Terrorism, the New Freedom Fighters, the New Sons of Liberty, the Defenders of the Republic, better known as the DOR, Mitchell, the Show Pony Express,
That's right.
and, ready, the new High Priest of the Church of the Painful Truth. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Rodgers, the voice of the Bradford Tornadoes, and your host here on the Spot with David Rodgers each Tuesday and Saturday night. Real quick to the crew. To my left, you just heard him a while ago, Byron Bagwell.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and a very special thank you to Mr. Neil Bortz.
There you go for that. You got that right. Producing our show in the back there with his lovely hair is Super Dave Daredevil Holland. Say hello, David.
Thank you, everybody, and I'd like to say thank you, guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And you just heard him with the weather. Filling in for Austin the Storm Chaser Stevens, who's on special assignment. Michael the Dragon Slayer Eater, our director. Say hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Well, hello, Michael. And to my right, with local information, fixing to give it to you right here in just a few minutes, the man, Mr. Paul Newman himself, Mitchell, the local reporter, Gunter.
Just call me Mr. Blue Eyes.
Oh. Well, let me write that down. Mr. Blue Eye. How's it going, Mitchell? Again, welcome into the show. Before you get started, let me just thank everyone that's on here. Mr. John Probst, who's part of our team, he's down in Tampa, Florida. The home now of Tom Brady. Bart Norton and Kevin Howe are watching. Donald Stevens is watching. Eddie Lewis. Michael,
Hi.
yeah, Donald Stevens. Yeah, good evening to you, sir.
His
Noah
Mickey
Gibson.
Mouse voice.
Dwight Allen and Miss Shirley Bagwell. Hello, Mom. Carlton Jones. Lisa Tomlinson Moody. Amen to you, too. Shirley's own Roger Cruz is watching. Roger Cruz says he's mad. I don't know what he's mad about. Randy Brooks is watching. Lisa Baxter's watching. Dave Holland's watching. Noah Gibson. Pensacola has no War of 1812 reenactment. Blake Landon, who I work with. They should. Roy Jackson is watching. Stephanie Wood. Shirley Bagwell says, thank you, son.
You're welcome, Mom.
Lisa Thomas and Moody, give me chills. Awesome, Byron. Patricia Johnson Hines. Eddie Sigmund. Florence Jenkins, thank you. We're going to get you back on the show, Florence. We haven't forgot about you. Did a great job when she sold that jewelry the last time we were here several months ago.
She has been on Facebook.
She's been on fire.
Moving jewelry.
As a matter of fact, I believe she's going on 2 or 3 nights a week now.
Oh, definitely.
She's on fire right now, so we need to get her back on. Little Old Start lost several young men in the Vietnam War. This will be a great mention to them. You're absolutely right, Miss Shirley.
Absolutely.
Paige Smith Anderson. Sandy's watching. Bart, some who went to Vietnam War never really came home. My uncle was haunted from Nam until the day he passed away.
You know, Bart, you're right. The Vietnam War, it was the first war that we had that had mass media coverage, and a lot of people that come home, they never forgot that war.
No, they haven't.
And I can tell you, war touches people. And I've talked to World War II veterans. I've talked to Korean War veterans. They never are quite the same.
I've got a little trivia.
And they never really talk about it either.
Well, the World War II veterans won't, unless you're a family member and you're really, really lucky.
Well, I know both my grandparents. Both my grandfathers. They would not talk about it whatsoever. One was in the Battle of the Pacific. The other one was the Battle of the Bulge.
Right.
And so it was Battle of Bulge.
I probably just
Cold War's bad.
Yeah.
Battle of Bulge was really bad.
Yes, it was.
I probably just gave this away, but that's okay. I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you know how many? Which war has the most homeless people?
Has the most homeless?
Homeless veterans. Excuse me.
Probably would say the Vietnam War.
You're exactly right. By a landslide.
Oh yeah.
By a landslide. You were talking about, people from Nam and all that. That's your older people that's really gotten back and gotten settled in. But the Vietnam War guys, they messed with that plus the jungle warfare and everything that was over there.
Bad.
It was really bad, and it's taken them a long time to recoup from that.
Oh yeah. Well,
and some of them don't.
I mean, you
No.
cannot fully recover from that.
You can't.
You're gonna have those memories for the rest of your life. I mean, you can readjust in some ways, but you can't. Those memories will always be there. You can't get rid of them.
And ladies and gentlemen, and for you younger people, I can tell you this right now. My cohorts will agree. We didn't win that war. We did not win that war.
You want to know who I lay the blame on for that one?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to go ahead? Because I'll lay in the same blame.
I lay the blame on the politicians.
Yes, that's exactly right.
They would take a place. They would have to retreat. The enemy would take the place back.
Right. And then we go back and do it again.
They'd go right back and take
Yes.
it again. If they were more concerned about the numbers of dead
Right. Right.
on the enemy side than they were about the actual land that they were taking.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a pretty bad situation. That's why politicians need to stay out of that and let the generals do what they do.
Noah Gibson says John Jay's not bad for you, Mr. Mitchell. You ought to take it.
He's a cousin.
Oh, he's a cousin.
Great cousin.
Oh, okay.
Hamilton might be good for him.
He may be. We'll see what Mr. Heater comes up with on Saturday. John's nice to see you. And Vicky Cook Heron, thank you for joining us. We're going to get into some local news right here. Now.
Really quick.
Okay.
Cassidy Udi actually has the name of the
yes.
COVID-19 virus. Its official name is SARS-CoV-2 2019.
Yeah.
And the reason it's designated that is exactly what I've talked about for a long time. This is a virus. It's basically been around. It's just a different strain of it. And that's why the talk about was it manipulated, wasn't it manipulated, and all of this stuff.
Right.
There's no bats. There's no bats in that market.
600 miles away. From that location.
600 miles
Yes.
away. So the chances that it come from a bat is very, very just non-existent. So
All right.
That's another story.
Now is our local report. Oh, did you have something else? I'm sorry.
really quick,
Okay.
the Kung Flu and Wuhan virus is perfectly acceptable too. Thank you, Mr. Allen. You're absolutely right.
Yes, he is. All right. Now that Mr. Byron Bagwell's got any more, Mr. Bagwell?
No, I'm good.
All right. Up now is our local report with the all-knowing Mr. Mitchell Gunner, brought to you by tonight. If I let y'all go, y'all just talk forever.
Yeah, why not? We're having It's a good night. We're all happy.
I'm not.
Why are you not happy?
Boy, I'm telling you,
Weekend
I'm
wasn't
madder
long
than a
enough.
hen.
Why are you
Wet hen.
Why are you not wet hen?
Because I'll tell you, up now is our local report with the all-knowing Mr. Mitchell Gunner, brought to you by tonight by Miracle Automotive and Recovery in Starkville McClinney. When you have an automotive crisis, don't pray for a miracle. Call a miracle. 904-368-1114. Mr. Michael Heater, we were moving.
Here we go.
All right. Okay, first of all, we'll start talking about the Bradford County school system. The Bradford Middle School will have its 8th grade graduation on Monday, June the 15th at 6 p.m. The event will take place at the Bradford High School Auditorium. There will be more on the event on how many people can attend per child. Speak also on the Bradford Middle School. Parents, if your children have borrowed a Chromebook, you can start turning them back in starting today, May the 26th through May the 28th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Bradford Middle School gym. Now, also, if your children has belongings that's in the PE lockers, they can take that opportunity and go ahead and pick up those items as well. Get to the Bradford High School. The Bradford High School graduation will take place on June the 19th at 8 p.m. June the 20th will be the fallback date if there was a problem with weather or emergency.
Yay.
Each student will be limited to 8 people only, and those tickets will be given out to the students. Now, speaking of the graduation, I also want to let you know, if you have a child that's already have committed to the military, he or she is supposed to contact the administration as soon as possible, and they will have a special ceremony designated for them.
Good.
Now, on June the 16th, the awards banquet for the seniors will be held at 6 p.m. at the Bradford High School Auditorium. Each student will be giving 4 guest tickets to attend.
Hey, Mitchell, guess who is going to be at the graduation?
On the spot.
That is
That's
exactly
exactly
right.
right.
So you can watch the graduation. If you're not able to make it, let your family members know we're going to broadcast that live.
Well, here's a fun story I like to share. It's not very long, but on May the 23rd, the Bradford Middle School and Bradford High School had a few students that was in the band that took a little trip over to Windsor Health and Rehabilitation Center, and they performed music in their courtyard. And I thought that was a great thing for seniors to actually be able to sit back and relax and enjoy some nice music, especially with everything that has been going on with this COVID-19 situation. I'll move on to Alachua County.
All right. Hey, hello there.
All right.
Okay.
Alachua County deputies are searching for a suspect for stealing several adult toys. The deputies responded to 6818 Northwest 301, where a man broke into a door and entered the store and grabbed several adult toys and then exited out the same door. The suspect is described as a white male with long hair and a goatee. If you have any information, please contact Detective Adams at 352. Dave Holland's going to make me crack up. 352-367-4043. Now, if you want to see what this person looks like, you can actually go on to CBS 4 Gainesville, and they actually got some still pictures of him. So if you recognize him, yes, of his face, please give Alachua County deputies a call.
Well, actually, the description that you gave, I bet that guy's sitting right here right now. He's our producer, Dave Holland.
Oh,
I
no.
see the picture. His hair is not as long as Dave.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think Dave is safe.
Dave is safe on
Yeah,
this one. Okay.
Yeah, his goatee is real long and stringy, so Dave's is nice and cut, nice and trimmed. So I think Dave's okay.
Comes with the job.
A Gainesville man was arrested for stabbing an elderly man at a bus stop on June the 25th. The Gainesville police responded to the area of Southwest 16th Avenue and Southwest 13th Street. This man has been charged with aggravated battery, causing bodily harm or disability, and the bond has been set at $250,000.
Jeez.
I'm going to step over here and give us a COVID-19 update before going on to the NASA story. As of right now, 52,255 positive cases in Florida. 50,916 of those are Florida residents. Now, in Bradford County, we have a total of 51 cases and 2 deaths. Alachua County has 370 cases and 7 deaths. Clay County has 362 cases with a total of 27 deaths. Jacksonville, which is Duval County, has a total of 1,484 and 44 deaths. And St. Johns County has 240 total and 5 deaths. And I like to bring up those areas because those counties are the ones that we mostly will travel to,
Right.
Leaving out of Bradford County. Either it's for going shopping or going to the beach or for purposes of going to work.
Right.
So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. And now I'm going to talk about something that will be happening on Wednesday, May the 27th. Guess who is going to open up the pre-launch ceremonies for this wonderful thing that's fixing to happen? These 2 astronauts are going to take off and go and dock with the space station.
That's right.
And this is the first time that we've actually launched anybody into space since May the 28th of 2011.
And will that be our President Trump that's going to be there?
Oh, I imagine so.
So-
He's going to be there.
He's going to be there.
That's when they needed the space shuttle program.
Yes.
Right.
But Kelly Clarkson is going to actually sing the national anthem
Nice.
to open up the
Yeah.
pre-launch
Okay.
ceremonies.
Okay.
So a lot of great things are going on with the launch. Now, how the launch activities will be taken over by SpaceX as well as NASA. And this is actually a Demo 2 test flight that will carry 2 astronauts, Robert Beacon and Douglas Hurley, to the International Space Station. Targeting time for launch off will be at 4:33, but we all know, please stay tuned on what's going on. We have those pop-up afternoon thunderstorms. They may have to delay it a little bit in the afternoon, and I'll tell you what, it will not hurt my feelings if it gets delayed to 9 o'clock because it's going to be a great sight to see.
That's what I was about to say. You can see it
So,
really well.
Will not hurt my feelings at all if that does take place. So, you know, like I said, this whole thing is going to be launched live on the air.
Right.
Both SpaceX and NASA are going to have it up on their web pages so you can see everything live that's going on.
I want to bring in Mr. Michael Heater real quick, and he went over the weather. Michael, tell us, is this thing going to happen? How's the weather look for this thing?
Well, now the weather is looking fairly decent. The issue that we're dealing with is, as you well know, the water temperature is really warm. So the concern is not so much about thunderstorms over the Cape. There's only about a 30 to 40% chance of passing showers that Mitchell alluded to.
Right.
The problem is the offshore storms that are building near the Gulf Stream. The reason why that's a concern is because they're going to be launching in a SpaceX capsule attached to the Falcon 9 rocket. The emergency escape release allows them to be able to jettison off the Florida coastline should there be an emergency. But they need to have calm winds and fairly calm water in order to initiate the rescue effort if need be. Right now we've got 2 Coast Guard cutters, 2 military aircraft, and 2 surveillance aircraft that will be circling the area as part of the no-fly zone.
That's right.
But if there's stormy weather or rough seas, they'll probably postpone or scrub the launch simply because they can't get rescue craft in there quickly enough if the conditions are poor.
And you heard it right here first, right here with our very own director, Mr. Michael Heater, bringing you the weather and the weather for the launch. You heard it first right here on Spot with David Rodgers. Thank y'all guys for tuning in. Back to you, Mitchell.
Well, you know, talking about this launch is the first built and operated American rocket and spacecraft that is carrying astronauts. So, you know, here lately, when we had to deliver people to the space station, we would have to depend on Russia to get us there.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is get away from that and start our space program back up. You know, and I think this is all incorporated with, you know, Trump's thing and moving forward with the Space Force thing, and trying to get us back into that thing and put us up front again like we used to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great thing. So I hope everyone gets to walk outside and see it. And if it's cloudy and you can't see it, like I said, they're going to have it launched live on the web on both NASA's and SpaceX websites.
This ought to be a great thing right here, Byron. I'll tell you.
We needed to start back when they closed the
Those
program down. I thought, what are you guys doing?
Oh, definitely. You know, and it's something neat because, you know, the kids today, they're actually starting to experience something that the kids experienced in the 60s when it first started and we were launching rockets with capsules on board.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings that back, and it's kind of neat that this generation gets to see that. You know, and the older generation gets to see it again.
Right. All right, Mitchell, I appreciate it. Now, I don't know if you were tuning in Saturday. We've seen you come on a little bit here and there before while you were racing. By the way, Mitchell Gunner did really well over there. He got 80 points to start your season, 75, 80 points?
70 points.
70 points?
70 points.
That's a good start for the season, right?
Well, Lumore had 115,
so at that, you're in pretty good shape, right, for the rest of the season?
I'll be in the top 10, top 8, something like that.
That works. Because last year just didn't have a lot of luck with that. It wasn't you. It was just certain things happen here and there, and that happens in racing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like this past, actually Sunday was the better day. Car ran great, but we started going rounds a whole lot faster, and you don't have the time to really cool your car down between those rounds when they start going fast. And they were just trying to get it all in before thunderstorms started popping up and rain out the event. And I tell you what, I lost third round. The driver done his part. I was 002 on the tree. Car just wouldn't run a number. It's too hot. So
Sometimes it happens.
It slowed down about 0.08 of a second.
Wow.
So that's just the way it goes. And I lost by 0.2.
That's not bad.
So, It's very competitive, very close racing out there. It was just great, finally to get back to some normalcy.
Yeah.
And to be able to see your friends again and do something that you really love and enjoy.
Well, since you were tuning in, you heard us talking about the guy that got the hit and run over in Interlaken. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
And you went back and watched the show as well. Well, we promised the young lady, actually me and Michael Heater and Dave Holland and Byron Bagwell got into that story quite a bit Saturday. The girl's name is Kayla Gordon. It's her cousin, Jose Otero. And we told her that we would push this story as much as we could and to keep bringing it to light. Don't let it go dormant. And we're gonna keep doing that. But for anybody that doesn't know, just real quick, a man in Putnam County is in critical condition, which is actually worse now. The last report, and Kayla can come on, and hopefully you'll get some comments there. He is actually physically brain dead now. It's just probably a matter of time now. But he was involved in a hit and run late last week. I believe that happened last Friday, I believe. His family and friends gathered near the spot where the incident happened to try to raise awareness about the investigation in hopes they will find the man who hit Otero. And that's why we're bringing this report right now, because that particular person has not stepped up yet, as far as I know, unless we get something a little bit different. Michael Heater's researched a little bit. We don't have any further word that this guy has stepped up, right, Mike, at all?
Absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and the latest information is that there is some information that's filtering in. However, we don't have any type of confirmation as of yet.
Right.
We're still trying to learn. Again, the investigation is being handled by the Florida Highway Patrol as a traffic homicide vehicular manslaughter case. If you know anything about this case, the vehicle that was described was an older model Dodge Durango, green in color, damage to the passenger side vehicle, specifically the missing passenger mirror on the passenger door. If you have any information, know anything about this, or have something that could help investigators, we strongly encourage you to contact the Florida Highway Patrol. You can dial star FHP on your phone, that's star 347, or contact Putnam County deputies at 1-800-426-9975.
Yeah, and
I want to mention on something like this. If you're driving your vehicle and you think that you struck something, please stop, go check, and make sure it wasn't a person.
right.
Because I want to tell you, if it's a person and you get back in your vehicle, even though it was not your fault, you will get charged with a hit and run, and it is a felony.
Yes, it
by
is.
law. And if that person dies, it becomes a vehicular manslaughter.
Right.
So, always check on the person. Do not get scared and flee. Stay. Because you know what? You may not have been at fault at all.
Correct.
I'm not saying that's the case here.
That's right.
But
right.
you may not have been your fault at all, and you may have, I probably was an animal I hit.
Right.
How many times have we heard that? I
Yeah.
thought it was the animal, and it actually was a person.
Right.
Always pull over side of the road and check.
The other thing is it might keep it from turning into this too, because
Right.
if
you can render aid,
you render it, you could definitely
right.
at least call 911 and get somebody there to help the person.
Right.
Even if you don't render them aid, the chances of them surviving is going to go up because you
Definitely.
call the EMTs.
Well, as we hit this story Saturday, Byron, and again, Mitchell didn't get a chance to listen in, but Dave and Michael was here as we hit this story really hard on Saturday and making a plea to whoever was driving that vehicle, that green Durango, with the it's going to have damage on the right side, mainly again to the mirror on the right side. So we plead again to you guys, please, if you know anything, make that phone call. You can remain anonymous. If you're listening to us, whoever he, she, whoever it was that hit this particular young man, the family's just looking for what happened and some closure. We've seen a lot of comments come across last Saturday night, Mitchell, and all of them were very positive. They're not mad right now with this particular person. They just want to know what happened and why he may have left, and and like y'all were saying, rendering aid if needed. He could have thought he may have hit anything, but I stopped anyway. I gave a story about me hitting that armadillo, and I stopped because you just never know. Somebody could be laying in the middle of the road, and you just don't know, and just run slap over them because they fell asleep in the middle of the road. How many times have you heard that? I mean, that happens a lot more frequent than what you think it does.
I know this is a little off subject, but do you know in the state of Florida, if you hit a deer, you are to report that accident by hitting that deer, because that deer belongs to who?
Yes,
the state of
Florida wildlife.
So yes, you are supposed to report that.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. You're supposed to stop and report that, but I have an issue with the wildlife belonging to any government
You can
agency.
still take it if it ain't busted up.
Oh yeah. I
You
mean,
can take it.
they will allow you to actually do that. But
Yeah.
the fact that they claim that as theirs is a little bit much to me. It should be a little bit much to everybody. It doesn't matter what side of your political party is. How can you own the wildlife?
Right.
That just makes that
But you
part
are
of
supposed to report it, and I've hit
Yes.
two of them in my time, and I've reported.
Oh,
both.
I've hit 2 or 3 of them since I just started working at Lake City, so I know I've got damages on my
You know
car to
what?
prove
and,
it.
and it's always best to report it because, say, there was another vehicle that looked like yours that hit somebody.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's that yours has already been reported by hitting the animal.
Animal. That is very
Cleared
true.
up.
So I'm going to make a plea one more time, Kayla, if you're on. I know you said you was going to be on. If you have any more information or if you have anything that you'd like to say, this is the time for you to comment. Anything that you would like to say. I would like to say to this particular person, and like the White said, it could be a woman driver, it could be a man driver, it could have been a 17-year-old kid. We don't know at this point, but we would like for you to come forward and, turn yourself in. You'll have your fair day in court if that's where it has to go. But the family would just really like to know what happened, because all they did was they found him laying there. And I guess an eyewitness, Michael, if I'm not mistaken, an eyewitness seen the vehicle go by with the damage on the
That's the report that was provided to the Highway Patrol. Yes.
right.
Yeah, and the longer you wait, the
worse this is going to get.
Don't let them come. Don't let them come get you.
Well,
Turn yourself in.
it makes you look even more guilty of
Yes.
actually committing a crime than actually committing an accident or
Right.
being
Right.
in an accident. So
Right.
it's better for everybody if you do come forward.
Yeah, please do come forward, and Kayla, we'll keep up on this story like I promised you, and hopefully that somebody that maybe knows this person is watching the show, or maybe this person is watching the show. Please do the right thing and turn yourself in and give this family a little closure. It doesn't sound like this young man is going to make it, even though we're praying for him to make it. It doesn't sound like it at this point. But, God works in mysterious ways, and, a miracle can happen at any time.
I've seen
And
one
I've
that,
seen
that
it,
happened
yeah.
for us. So
Yes, and see, there you go. So you
Can
can
happen.
speak from firsthand. The business that Mr. Bagwell is in. I'm sure that he's delivered a hospital bed at one night, and then the next thing you know, this person has made a miraculous recovery. A couple of days later, you're picking up the bed, not because the person passed away, because the person made a recovery.
Yeah, there's things that happen like that.
Yeah,
There is. It's very possible. So.
And I just hope that this happens for this young man. So we'll stay on top of this, Kayla, and to your family. We're praying for you, and we pray for Jose to make a full recovery. And Dwight Allen.
Oh,
yeah. Should we send
what
the
an
bill to-
excellent idea.
Yeah.
That is, if it's their property, they're responsible for it, right? That is an absolutely
Yeah,
excellent idea.
It says, should we send the bill to the state for damage caused by their deer? Wow, excellent point by Mr.
They
Mr.
want to own
Dwight
it. They might as well own all of
Allen.
it.
Come on in, Mike.
That sounds like a great idea. Unfortunately, the state of Florida, traffic laws, and I can pull up the actual number, says that animal movement, much like weather, is classified as an act of God, and therefore the state is not liable for any damage from anything, any property, including animals.
Okay,
Wow.
if it's classified, how that is actually in the code, and it is actually a discrepancy between the two codes because you can't control God. If they're creatures of God and their acts are acts of God, how can you own an act of God?
Let's see that.
I can only tell you that the state statute says that you can't. The state's not liable for striking.
I am not a lawyer, but I've been watching stuff and listening to this stuff for long enough to know that a good lawyer would have an absolute field day with that one.
Yeah.
Well, Judge, this statute says one thing and this statute says another. Can you tell us which is right and which is wrong?
Is there a right or is there a wrong?
There's an absolute right and wrong for that. They're creatures of God, and they have their own ways and their own patterns, and the state can't own them.
Right. But
The only reason they do is to control people that hunt
Let me do some research.
and do some poaching and things like that to keep people from being really stupid with it.
I'm pretty sure there's a precedent that has been set by this already, but I will find out and I'll report back to you.
I can almost promise you a lawyer has gotten a hold of that one at some point.
Dwight Allen brings up a good point. But if your cow gets out, are you responsible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
How about that?
Yes.
And that's there's
Because
where this
you have
catch-22 all
ownership.
comes into play.
Yeah, private ownership versus public domain, though, is where
Yeah.
That's where that that's where that
you
comes.
call that. It just makes that makes no sense to me. How
I
can the state
agree.
own wildlife? That makes no sense. Nobody owns wildlife. That's why it's called wildlife.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand
agree.
you have to regulate the people hunting the wildlife. I understand that. You have to keep people from doing dumb things like taking way too many animals, poisoning animals, blowing up animals. Trust me. There are people out there that do crazy things. But to claim you own the wildlife is another thing. That's not. You can't. The government doesn't own wildlife. That's ridiculous.
And
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
You're going to
you're
get me up on a
exactly.
soapbox.
Sorry,
about
well,
that. That's government
I mean-
overreach is what that is.
Well, no, and
Thank
and
you.
you're exactly.
Thank you, Mitchell. You got me on my soapbox tonight. Thank you.
Well, and like I was just getting ready to say, Terry Bond, you seen that too?
What did Terry say?
Oh my God! Let me go. Oh God, I got to get back to it. I accidentally shut it off. Oh
What did
boy!
Terry say?
Terry said utter destruction. Oh my goodness gracious alive!
Gentlemen, I don't mean to beat a dead cow, but I do
Or
think
horse.
but I do think we should keep this show moving.
Oh
along.
God! Oh Lord! No! Boo! Hit! Boo! Hissed.
Hey, Dwight says, what if it's a free range cow?
A free.
It could be unclaimed and then
We're
butchered.
having.
Oh, my God. Hey, we gotta move on.
Maybe you can blame the steer for not blowing his horns.
Oh, good Lord!
Oh, here we go. You're going to join on the Terry Bond bandwagon too, aren't you? I'm keeping moving. All right.
No, I did not miss my calling. I do not need to be a lawyer.
Yeah. Who said that?
Lisa.
Mr. Collins, you should have been a lawyer. Yeah, well, there you go. Was off eating a steak and returned to this. Donald Stevens says, well, you picked the right time to tune in, Donald.
Where'd he get that?
Moving.
Where'd he get that steak at?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably from Dwight Allen's pasture, the one that he just got hit, the one that just crossed the road.
Well, I tell you, Jackson Building Supply, they got a bunch of steaks down there.
Yeah, they do.
Stake off your property.
Stake off your property. Get out of here. And now with the national report. Here is the freedom fighter Byron Bagwell tonight, brought to you by Saban & Schuster Law Firm in Jacksonville. Visit them online at www.pitlaw.com. Byron, we've been talking about a lot of things right here. Oh my gosh, that was pretty good.
Sorry, it's
Moving. But anyway, we've been talking a lot of things here.
Oh my God, that's corny. Corny.
Yeah.
I thank you, sir. I will try to get.
I'm trying to keep this show on the rails, and y'all are getting me all befuddled.
Hey, I just worry about
Bamboozled?
Bamboozled.
I just worry about the chickens that's in Popeye's parking lot.
Oh
all
Lord,
the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Why, you think they're grabbing him up and putting him in there?
I'm more worried about
Oh,
the
get out
cats.
of here. All right, get on to your segment, Mr. Bagwell. What do you got? What do you got going, man?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is some really good news I heard today.
Okay.
I heard that with the numbers they're looking at, the segment of population that is the majority of our population, which is age groups between 0 and 60, have about a 0.3 percentage of passing away from COVID-19.
So that's lower than the numbers we officially reported a while back.
That is the most recent numbers that I've heard about that particular age group. Now, when you start talking about at the age group of people that are 60 and over, the numbers increase dramatically on that, and it could be up to 12%.
Right.
So it's good in one way and it's bad in another. The numbers are actually increasing because what we're getting is we're getting more tests done, and there's more people that have it. But the numbers of hospitalizations and the numbers of death are actually going down, which is another very good thing.
Right.
And lo and behold, surprise, surprise, the states that have completely opened up, their numbers are doing the same thing. So places like Georgia and Alaska, and I realize the population of Alaska is not that big, but their numbers are actually still decreasing, and they've completely opened up. So that's a very good thing. The other thing that I heard today was that 42% of the COVID-19 cases that actually have passed are revolving around nursing homes in New York, New Jersey, and Minnesota. Those three states. Those three states.
Yeah, because you have the governor that was sitting back into the nursing home.
And that leads me right into what I was about to say. Governor Cuomo sent these people back into nursing homes and it spread like wildfire. Now he's trying to distract by saying, well, he was just following what the CDC
said. Yeah.
Literally, Donald Trump's CDC, or something very close to that is what he said about it. But Donald Trump doesn't control CDC's guidelines. Right. CDC controls CDC guidelines. So what he was saying is sort of true and sort of not. And it was not talking about because he put the Trump in there, but because the CDC guidelines are gray in that area. So what ended up happening is he's just sent these people back and then infected a bunch of people, and they died because he sent them back to nursing homes. Spread like wildfire. I don't understand personally how anybody with a brain in their head can go, this person has a disease that could potentially kill somebody in this age group, but we're going to send them back to their nursing home so they can infect more people in those nursing homes. It just makes no logical sense to a caring person. The only way it makes sense to me, and I am not accusing Governor Cuomo of this, some people are, but he wanted his senior citizens gone. That's the only way that it makes sense. Like I said, I am not accusing him of that, but some people are. Some people are saying that he did this on purpose to get rid of the elderly in the state. Now, I don't know if I believe that. I don't think I believe that, but still, of all of the boneheaded moves you could possibly do and prove that you are a non-thinking person when it comes to things like this.
Put at-risk people in jeopardy.
Yeah. Put at-risk people in jeopardy.
Yeah.
See, this thing to me has been mishandled to begin with. We didn't know a whole lot about it to begin with. We shut down. The shutdown should have lasted for 2 weeks. When we started discovering that this virus affects certain age groups and certain people that have physical problems, maladies, diseases, high blood pressure, whatever, respiratory issues. We should have started protecting those people and saying you really need to stay at home.
Right.
And those people should have stayed at home and followed these guidelines. Now you've closed down a nation for 3 months, and you've basically tanked our economy. To me, and I waited to say this for a while because I wanted to see how this was going to play out, and it played out exactly how I thought it was going to, for no reason at all. Because the people that are in most people that are in the category that can go to work are not in the category that are going to die from COVID-19. There are going to be some of them that do because of
Existing conditions.
This whole thing has been wrong from the beginning, and I think they should open all the states up now. Every single one of them. We are all adults. We can do the things we need to do. The people that don't, and they catch it like the flu. The numbers are literally similar to the flu every year. Now, they're a little bit more in the death rate, but the numbers themselves are like the flu. And the only reason the numbers are a little bit more is because we have governors sticking people that are infected with it into nursing homes. And you have a number like 42% of the COVID deaths in this nation are coming from nursing homes from 3 states.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that infuriates me. Why would you send a sick person into a nursing home to infect the whole community when you already know it affects them, that age group, worse than it does the other age group? We should be, as Americans, should be outraged at this, but some people are defending this man. That's your governor of New York. It's your governor that did that. And for the most part, the other governors from the other two states did the same thing. Where's the? I don't understand where the outrage is. I mean, I understand Orange Man bad, Democrat good. I understand that. But how can you not look at a Democrat politician if you're a Democrat and go, that was worse than a horrible mistake. That was worse than a political mistake. You literally sent people back into a nursing home to infect other people from that nursing home that have a greater chance of dying from a disease a virus that's being spread. Pandemic. It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
How can you? If I did something like that,
in a right mind,
I couldn't live with myself if I did something like that.
How can you, in a right mind?
I would feel responsible for those deaths. I don't understand
And
that.
he's wrong about the CDC because it says to isolate.
Well, see,
You're not isolating if you're putting them back in.
into places that can't control it.
Right.
Some nursing homes are able to do that, but apparently the majority of them aren't in that state because the people were dying like crazy. I mean, I just fully don't understand that. I wanted to talk about this little subject for a little while. Governor Cuomo, I don't get it. Like I said, I understand Orange Man bad, Democrat good. I understand that. You're going to have the Trump stuff going on, and the politicians are going to say Trump is bad, Trump did all of this. But that man's in control of the state. He was capable of locking the state down and capable of moving those people to where he wanted to move those people, or allow those people to move, literally allow those people to move. And he let them go back into nursing homes.
Well, one of the hospitals they spent $21 million on, never even seen one patient.
Ventilators?
Right.
No, one whole
One
hospital.
whole hospital.
You're talking
Yes.
about. Well, no, not only that. They had the Mercy there, which was a military ship designed to handle crisis problems, which was never used. I mean, literally, there was nobody that ever went on. There was another place that the government helped them build, and I think that's the one you're talking about, that was never used either. And we started talking about needing all of these ventilators. You got to have this many ventilators, or we're going to have an overrun hospital. Well, the hospitals were never overrun in the first place. That's another thing that makes me believe that this has been mishandled, because the majority of our population that are in the age group that are not affected by this disease are not going to have anything but flu-like symptoms,
Right.
or symptoms of pneumonia in the most severe cases of it in this age group, 0 to 60.
Well,
And
there are a few that will.
Well, I mean, yeah,
You're going to have a few that will because like that one guy that works for Steve Johnson.
Right.
He's 30-something years old,
and he's having
he just opened up his eyes the other day and waved.
waved to people. I mean, it's and I was going to say
4 weeks.
I know somebody that I work with that they think had COVID. She was never tested for it. She hasn't been tested for the antibodies. I'm not going to mention any names. I probably shouldn't have even said she. But it took her 6 weeks.
Right.
I mean, and they thought she had pneumonia, and they kept on giving her medications, and they kept on giving her inhalers. They kept on doing all the things you do for traditional pneumonia, and it would get better a little bit at a time. And she's finally back to the point where she's back at work full time, which is a great thing. So I mean, even the bad cases sometimes they're not fatal.
Right.
And I really have an issue with what we've done with this because we've destroyed the economy pretty much too, and I think we've done it for political purposes.
Byron, I got some comments here on this particular subject that you were just talking about right here, and I'll read some of them right here for you.
Sure.
And I'll let you and Mitchell answer, and whoever else wants to chime in. But again, just let me remind you, you're tuning in on the spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers. Right to my left is Mr. Byron Bagwell. To my right, Mr. Mitchell Gunner. Behind the scenes, producing the show, Mr. Dave Holland. And directing back here, running notes and chiming in when we need some clarification is our director, Mr. Michael Heater. Again, welcome in to On the Spot with David Rodgers. And here we go. Save millions of dollars on health care for the elderly in New York so Como can waste it. Mr. White Allen.
Dwight, if what you said was
Yeah.
just said was true,
True.
and I don't know that it is, and I can't prove that it is.
And we hope it's not.
No, we're
If-
hoping
if,
it's not.
if that is the case, there needs to be charges brought up.
Yes.
On Cuomo. Period. I wish that we knew for sure one way or the
The
other.
other. Yeah.
Well, we'll find out one day because you know why? There's always a person that's going to blow the whistle.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's also a chance that the next governor will look at it and go,
Huh. What is this?
We'll see. New York hasn't had a governor with sense in his head since Rudy Giuliani, but we'll see.
Why is this is coming from Lisa here? Why is all the Democrat governors did what Como did, and they are blaming a Trump, but they are the ones that made the decision to move the sick patients to the nursing homes?
Look. The initial part of this was not Trump. It was not the Democrats. It was China. It was the
Yes.
communist government in
Of
China.
Yes.
If they didn't create it, which I really believe they did in the lab in Wuhan, if they didn't create it, they at least spread it. Because they knew about this virus, it looks like now, back into November, and they were letting people travel all over the world
When
Right.
the
from
trade
that area.
when the trade thing was going on, they admitted to do the trade, but in that trade bill, it states if a pandemic breaks
Yes.
out, they are not held or
Responsible.
bind
Yeah.
by that trade treaty.
Yeah.
Now, think about that for a few seconds. Just think about that for a few seconds. How long is this pandemic going to be around? Speaking of who do you think is controlled by China? The
World
That's
Health
right.
Organization.
That's why we got out of it. If I was Donald Trump, I would look at China right now and go, "That's okay. I'm not working with that trade deal. Matter of fact, I'm not working with any trade deals from you,
Right.
with the exception of pharma. That's the only thing I'm doing right now. And as soon as I can build places that are capable of manufacturing these medications, guess what? I'm not dealing with you anymore with that either.
Right.
Period.
And I'll tell
And
you,
you threaten one of our allies again, and I will totally quit sending materials to your country. Period.
and I tell you, as
And they're
Americans,
threatening Australia, if you haven't
Right.
heard.
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, as Americans, if you want to help your country out,
Quit.
when you go to the store, take the package off of what you're going to buy.
Read
Look
it.
at the back of it, see where it was made at, and if it's not USA on it, do
Don't.
yourself a favor. If you don't have to buy it, put it back on the shelf and find a product that is just like that, that's built here in the United States.
Yep.
And support American companies
And-
and not those from other countries. Now, we do get in some points in times where we
right.
can't buy
That's correct.
what we want that's made in the United States.
Right.
And we are forced to buy that product. But if we try our best to limit that,
Very
if
small
we
numbers.
cut it by 50%,
We
of
would
buying
hurt
American,
them in the wallet
You
so
hurt 'em.
dadgum bad. Yeah, you would hurt them big
You
time.
want to know what?
they will collapse from within. You know what happens when they
You wanna
collapse
know-
within?
Yeah,
Their
they're
people
not uprising.
will
There's a
uprise
coup,
and
and that's
overthrow
exactly
their
right.
That is exactly right. You see these things? Almost every single one of them. Guess where they're made?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They're made in China. The next one that I buy won't be made in China. I don't care if I have to buy off-brand. I will not own another product that I can get that's made American from China ever again after this. I don't like communist countries and communist dictators anyway, but this is a luxury to me.
yep.
And I don't need this luxury to be this good. I can go find something that's made in, I don't care, Mexico or
Give me a little.
Taiwan.
Give me the
or-
old flip phone, Byron. Give me the old flip phone.
Give me
The old
something.
Motorola
Yeah,
Razor.
yeah, there
Now,
you go. Give me that.
I want a little bit more than that because it's right now. It's the only thing I can use the internet on.
You can always get something else for that.
But I'm going to get something else from somewhere else.
There
So,
you go.
I just think about what you do. We've sold our soul to the devil, is what we've done with China.
Yes, we have.
And we need to unsell it. We need to tear that contract up. We need to start making things in this country again. And people just need to bite the bullet. Instead of paying $2 for a pill, you're going to pay $3 for a pill, and don't worry about it because guess what?
It's made
The
here.
quality control here is
Yes.
going to be 10 times better than it is there
And-
anyway. Because I can tell you, if you start looking back at some of the drugs that are being manufactured, and I've been affected by one of them. My blood pressure medication was recalled because it has a cancer agent in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing, you might pay that extra price up front, but when you start looking at price and the demand starts raising up, guess
Price
what
goes
happens?
down.
The price goes down
Yes.
because they sell more in bulk,
Bulk.
and
Yes.
and they can make a better deal that way.
How many
with the,
times?
Pharmacies.
How many times, Mitchell and Byron, have I talked and y'all talked about supply and demand? Does everybody know what that means? I tell you what, we're going to get into that one day, and we'll tell exactly everybody what supply and demand is. But I believe if you went to high school and had any kind of economics or any kind of business, Mr. Harris, I guarantee you browbeat that, didn't he? I guarantee you he did. It's supply and demand, ladies and gentlemen, and it's exactly what these two guys are saying right here.
Look, you can't trust a communist government. You can't trust a communist government. Period. Absolutely, at all, you cannot trust a communist government. We have a history of trying to do that. We tried to do that with the USSR. They became a world power.
Yep.
After World War II, they were our ally. They turned into the evil empire. Why are we doing that again with China? We're basically creating the Chinese economy. We basically helped them create it. And now they're letting stuff out like a virus that kills millions of people into the world. It's not just that they let it out on us.
Right.
They let it out on everybody.
Well, I'll give you a prime example.
Including their own neighbors, their own people.
They don't care.
They don't care about that.
about their own people.
No,
I mean,
right.
you could take back a look at the history of communist regimes and look
Yeah.
at what Stalin did with in Ukraine. You could take a look at what Pol Pot did with his people. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on about how many people that they just kill because they don't like their political opinion and they don't agree with them, or they're just too many people in their country, like what China has done in the past with their abortion.
Byron, me and you have go ahead.
And the thing with China, if you want to know where your money's going, when you buy their products and it goes back overseas, I want you to think about this little island that China started building out there between them and Japan, and you know why that is. So they can always be a threat to Japan.
Well, it's they want to be a threat in the Pacific to everybody.
Right.
Don't think that China is anybody's friend besides China. China has plans. There is a book that's been written by that, and I cannot remember what the name of it is right now, but describes China's plans to become the world's #1 superpower, and they don't care how they do it. They can use the hook and crook method, which is what they're using right now. They're stealing our technology. They're copying our technology.
Germ warfare.
All-out warfare, if it comes to it. If they believe they can get away with it, they would do that. I'm telling you guys, we're talking about the #1 enemy in the world, and it's been this way for a while. They just sit back and quietly watch and build themselves up and allow us to make dumb mistakes.
Right.
It's China. Anything that has the word communist after it or socialist after it in a government is never good.
The name of that book you're talking about, it's called I Live and Breathe, the Communist Party. That's makeup.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Doug was
I was sitting there going,
yeah, I was going to say, man, I think that sounds pretty good.
But that's China is.
I would look at that and go, "That's communist rhetoric," and throw it out the window. I don't want to read.
Well,
that.
I'm saying the title sounds
Well,
good.
I mean, the only thing I've ever read that had the word communist in it was the Communist Manifesto, and that's better used as kindling than it is a read. So,
well, I'm guilt by association because we didn't do it to China. Our government did it. We're just voted them in.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about it, though. And if you think about this, we deserve some.
We're the pawns.
We're the pawns of this.
We deserve some of the blame in this too, because everybody likes a 50-cent pen instead of $1.50 pen.
Well, of course.
You make it in America, it's $1.50. You make it in China, it's 50 cents.
Right.
Which one are you going to buy? If they're right close to each other, you going to buy the 50-cent pen.
Look, before all this happened, we'll get into a little bit of supply and demand here, and a little business deal here. Me and you got a company.
Mm-hmm.
It's Byron and David's pens, widgets. We'll go David and Byron's widgets. D&B widgets. All right. Before all this happened here, me and you opened up a business. We put our own capital money in there. We wanted to thrive with this thing, right?
Right.
Okay. Everything's hunky-dory. The economy's rolling, man. Unemployment rate is as low as it could be. Everything's cooking good, right?
Right.
So we go to an American company, and they say, we can build your widgets, Byron and David, for $2.25. Doesn't sound too bad. Then we start opening up, and we started investigating other countries. And here comes China. Byron and David, I can build your widgets for $1.10. Now, with everything running hunky-dory, not knowing, take what we just talked about out of play.
My allergies.
Where are me and Byron going to take, because we want to maximize our dollars, right? We want to maximize our profits. We want to make money. We want to get rich. Who are we going to let build those widgets?
That's good.
Well, I'm just saying.
I
I
buy
didn't give
products
you.
coming out
But
of Mexico.
I didn't give you Mexico.
I will buy products coming
I
out of
didn't give you
Mexico before I
Mexico.
buy Chinese stuff.
I got you. But what I'm just saying is in reality, and I know where you're going. I really do. I just want you to see past that a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, you're talking. What
Yeah.
you're talking. What
We're
you're
talking-
talking about is business.
That's
And
correct.
business people are in it to make money.
That is correct.
That's what a business
That's
is about.
about.
You go into a business
Right.
to make money.
Me and you can employ people. Why can we employ people? Because we're maximizing our profits. Hey, sales are up. Maximizing our profits because we can get that product made cheaper. Pass it on to the consumer at a better price.
Cheaper.
Exactly right. Now again,
And
that's if everything is all going hunky dory.
And guess what? If you can build it cheaper, you don't have the quality, it breaks, and that person will turn around.
And that's
spend
what
the
I
money
was just,
again.
and that's what I was just going to say, because they like the product. Yep, they're going to go, hey, let's buy Byron and David's
It broke
widgets
last
again.
time, we're gonna buy it again.
We'll just buy another one.
that price,
That's part of the business model. Literally part
Right.
of it. Love the product. It just broke.
Yeah.
It broke in half the time that the last one that I bought for
Right.
$3 broke.
Right.
But it's not going to cost me but $250 to replace it with
Correct.
another. So I'm going to replace it with another.
Another one. Yeah.
So we've doubled our profit
We doubled our profit.
from the same person. That's how basically how that works.
Right.
The way you're describing is exactly how that works.
Right.
The problem becomes, will your conscience let you do that?
Well, okay. Now, you better.
My conscience is not going to allow me to buy products from a communist dictatorship that puts people in sweatshops working 18 hours a day to make widgets for the American public.
Well, then.
I would look at you and go, we need to figure out somewhere else.
Okay. I
that
agree
business
with that. Now,
we
that's
can-
the other
that
portion.
we can go to a happy medium, a Mexico, an Indonesia, a South Korea,
Canada, America.
But you know what?
Actually, if
These same countries are doing the same thing, though. Let me just give you a big brand. Let me give you a big brand, and I want you to, and you know what I'm fixing to say. Nike. Where is most of those shoes built? Where is not?
China.
That's
They're
correct.
made in China
Or Korea.
or Korea.
In any of those countries over there. And guess what they've got those people doing? They got those people in sweatshops, just not China. The Koreans do too. The same thing.
South Korea is a little bit better than that.
A little bit.
Is a little,
Yeah,
bit,
a little
better.
bit
It's
better
a little bit better than
than
that
the communist North Korea.
because their society revolves around a capitalist society,
Right.
and that's a little bit better of a choice because of that. Their people have more rights.
Right. $3.22 to make a pair of Nikes over in China and Korea. Brings it back over here. Michael Heater, great deal for you this week. We have a sale at Hibbett Sports. You can get your Air Jordans for $89.99.
That's actually really cheap.
And that
I was
is
gonna
cheap.
say,
I was just giving him a sale.
Really cheap.
Hey, I was just giving him a deal, though. But guess what? Do you see the difference?
How much
$3,
does-
okay, you may have some other tax and shipping and all that. Okay, let's just say we got $10 in it. Okay?
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick is getting paid.
Of course he is. So, hey, how about the best basketball player in the world? Still get royalties off of that.
Michael
Why do
Jordan?
you, yes. Why do you think he is a billionaire over? My gosh.
Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
Because he was smart on the basketball court. And he's smart.
Yeah, in business. Now, does Michael think, I mean, with everything going on now, do you think Michael thinks that way? I don't know. That's something Michael would have to answer. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. But I'm with you. I have a little bit of a conscience. I would rather build it here.
I would rather build it here too. But the problem is with the way we think now, we've been taught to think, is if I don't make $17 an hour, I'm not making very much money.
Right.
So we can't produce our widgets in this country because
Right.
somebody that's making $8.50 an hour is entirely underpaid. I don't even think that's the minimum wage anymore.
856.
It's $8.56.
56, okay.
$8.56 is not making enough money.
Right.
So what you have is you have people that are not going to be able to work on manufacturing those widgets for a lesser price because they demand more pay.
Right.
It's a nasty, vicious cycle that all revolves around our economy
Right.
and the inflation of the dollar. That's really what, or deflation of the dollar. Devaluation of the dollar is where I'm looking for.
I'm going to give you something here. Oh, I'm spot with David. Hey, that's a great graphic there, Mr. Heater, man. Mr. Hey, by the way, all these graphics that you're seeing coming around, Mr. Michael Heater, our director, is putting them up there between him and Mr. Holland. They're keeping the show flowing right here with all these beautiful graphics that you're seeing. Want to thank all you guys for what you do there. But I wanted to tell y'all seen the movie Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
Y'all know Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, love Tommy Boy. What was he selling? You remember what him and old Mr. Spade was selling?
David, I
Auto parts, right?
honestly don't know if I've ever seen it.
Brakes.
Yes, you have. Brake pads, right? What was his saying when he was around trying to sell? And you need to watch this movie. It's funny as heck. What did he say, Michael and David and Dave Mitchell? Should I say? When he was going around, they was going around selling those brake pads. Besides Tommy Boy screwing up the presentation, but what was David Spade saying in that movie?
Shoot, I can't quote it. It's been so long.
An American product made by American people. You can't get no finer product than these brake pads right here because they are made in Sandusky, Ohio, and I remember this is where it was, Sandusky, Ohio, and I can guarantee these brake pads because they are made by the American worker, by the American people, and it's an American product. Yeah. Now, I don't know what Tommy Boy's dad, and after he eventually wound up getting the business, I don't know what he was paying those workers, but I can tell you what, whatever it is, I'd be willing to pay it. You know why? Because you're going to get a good quality product. You know you are. Oh, and by the way, there is a guarantee and a warranty that comes with those brake pads. Remember that? He threw that in there as well.
Well, here's the thing. You get what you pay for, as the old adage goes.
Hey, I'll give you an example. What's in the news right now about jack stands?
Oh, yeah. From Harbor Freight?
Yeah.
Yes.
And guess
Where's
where
Harbor Freight's tools?
Tools made.
China.
Even though I like that.
Cheap
one thing,
metal,
that's a
man.
great
Oh,
see?
man.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. I
So
do
would
like
you
that.
It's a great
would you take the risk of going up underneath the car
no.
with the jack
No.
stand made in China
No.
or one
No.
made in the United States?
One made in the United States.
Because you want to know why? Because all the inspections and guidelines before that.
Quality, assurance, and control.
Yep, before it leaves
Oh yeah.
the factory to go on to a parts place to be sold for your work on your car.
Here we go. China assembly line. Here's the inspect. Yep, it's good. They're not looking at it 2 and 3 times. Hey, when a car is made here in one of those plants in deep, that's what China does. Send it on through.
Quality inspection.
Yeah, what is that, right?
They don't even have.
They don't have one.
I was about to say they don't have.
They don't have
Yeah,
anything.
they
like
don't
that.
I'll tell you something sad that I've seen, but I've seen a couple of American companies. And so I'm thinking about going to buy, say, a screwdriver set by this American company. Pull it off, turn it around,
Made in China.
made in China, assembled in the U.S. You
Yeah.
gotta watch out for that.
Yes, you do.
And Donald Stevens brought up something interesting too. Made in China, made in U.S. You're talking about that. Which one would you rather have? Steel. Where does the majority of our steel come from now?
Yeah. China.
There's popular
Our buildings
motorcycles.
are weaker.
They're
Yeah.
weaker because the product
Yeah.
is not good.
It's not good.
It's
No.
not as good.
Right.
You can't get away with not making good steel. 'Cause
There's
if you don't
popular
make good steel, people aren't
motorcycles
gonna buy it.
that
But-
do that.
Yeah. Here's the thing to me about this. This is part of the problem when you go away with manufacturing jobs. And the manufacturing jobs start disappearing. They start being sent overseas because unions start to go, you're not paying our people enough money, and they demand higher and higher and higher and higher, and they finally figure out, well, guess what?
They're gone. Well, yeah, we can't afford. We can't. We got to go.
I'm going to take my business
somewhere
elsewhere.
else.
I can't afford to make any money. You're bankrupting me. So they leave, and then the manufacturing disappears in the United States, and we have to buy that in places like that. That's part of the evil of a union.
Right. It is. It is.
Because it's never enough.
Right.
Once you get in there and you start seeing that you can do that,
Right.
it's never enough.
Before you said China, going back to steel. Before China, who was the biggest steel producer in the world?
United States.
You know which particular company? U.S. Steel
Steel. I was about to
was
say
producing 80% of the world's steel.
And I tell you
What
what,
happened to that?
That was
tell you-
Rockefellers, wasn't it?
Yes. What happened to
Evil
that?
Rockefellers.
What happened to that? What happened to us? We still produce steel. My company produces steel. Steel Dynamics produces steel. Yes, it does. In all kinds of form, from the channel that we use to build those girders and the angles that we use to build those girders and joists, to rebar, to fence posts, whatever it is, we provide it. And we believe, and if you go and read up on our particular history, we believe in the United States product. Absolutely.
For those of you that don't know what rebar is, they put it in all sort of structures with concrete to make it more stable.
That's correct.
If you ever see them building a bridge, you will see rebar
correct.
all in it before they pour the concrete.
every building.
Have you ever seen? Do y'all have the testers for that rebar?
We do.
That is something to behold, because what it does is they put a piece of rebar in a machine and grabs a hold of it and basically pulls it apart like this. Mm-hmm. My father used to work for the Department of Transportation.
You know what they're checking for, right?
Tensile strength. Tensile strength. It sounds like a cannon going off when they pull that piece of rebar apart. And what it does is it measures the tensile strength of that piece of rebar and says, this batch is good or this batch is not good.
Yeah.
So they can send them to places and actually build stuff like bridges.
Well, and speaking of steel and speaking of construction materials, if you think, you go back a few years, what were we getting? We were getting bad sheetrock coming from China over here, and I tell you, one of these companies used this material in their apartment complexes on a military base.
Oh yeah,
mold.
It was just
gross
mold
in there, and they had problems with these military families with newborn babies dying because of that mold.
Because of the mold,
and it was because of cheap sheetrock made from China that was shipped over here, and people was using it because it was cheap instead of using the good quality stuff that we make right here.
I want to table this conversation up till Saturday because we've gotten into a great conversation here.
We'll continue.
I really love this conversation right here.
I want to say one more thing before this ends.
Yeah.
And I debated on whether I needed to say something about this or not. But I am sick to death of politicians getting away with stuff like this. It's a news item for a couple of days and then it disappears. A presidential candidate, and not the president, went on a morning talk show and basically said that if you are black and you don't vote for Joe Biden, you are not black. Now, I am sorry. The media double standard in this nation is despicable. If Donald Trump would have gone on a morning talk show and said, white people, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you are not white, do you know what would have happened? We wouldn't hear the end of it. You would never hear the end of it. It would be brought up every day until the election that if he wasn't reelected, you wouldn't hear the end of it till the end of his next term. It's that statement in itself is nuts. Your opinion does not have anything to do with your skin color.
And a great NFL player stood out and gave Joe Biden a good tearing. And that NFL football player was Herschel Walker.
Yes, he did. Tore him a new one, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Let's table that off. I will get into that Saturday, too.
David,
Let's get into that. No, I'm glad you said
I
that.
wanted to say a little bit about that. I don't.
Yeah.
When it comes to being serious about stuff, I don't like to talk about the race thing too much.
No, we don't.
Because
we don't do that.
people get a bad idea about what people believe in when you start talking about that.
Right.
But that one I can't let go, and the voters should never let go. How can you question somebody's skin color?
Right.
Over who you choose to
vote for? Yeah.
I mean that
bothers me too.
Well, it bothers me for a different reason. It bothers me that a political party would put up somebody who I don't think is mentally stable to run for president. And the more I watch this, the more I literally believe Joe Biden is truly not mentally stable. And it makes me wonder what's going to happen if he does get elected, who's actually going to be running this country, because Joe Biden is not going to be running this country. No. I don't believe he has the mental capability to do that. And if you watch him and you listen to him, I don't know how any reasoning person could think that. I don't understand how a party could put somebody up for that. I don't get that part of it.
He can't speak full sentences.
Well, I feel sorry for the guy. They've put him in a spot where he's either going to have to go hide and not say anything, or he's going to have to go out, and we're going to get blunders like this for the rest of this election cycle.
Yep.
I didn't like his politics to begin with, and he's done some really shady stuff as a senator, and beyond that as a vice president to me. But how do you? Seriously, if you care about the people that have served you in your party for as long as Joe Biden does, wouldn't somebody go, Joe? You can't do.
You better rethink that. You can't do
that. You can't do this.
You can't do
and I'm
that.
not talking about speaking. I'm talking about running.
Right,
Joe. I know you want to be president. You've always wanted to be president. You talked to your son,
right,
who passed away from cancer, about that, and he told you he wanted you to run to be president, and he wanted you to be president. And I understand that's one of your goals, but you have a problem, like Mitchell was saying, forming complete sentences.
Don't know what state he's in.
Don't know what state she's in.
Date.
What date? And honestly, if that only happened once or twice,
all right, no big deal.
That's no big deal, because a president, a politician's schedule is so crazy. You can be one state in 6 hours and another state in the next 6 hours, and call one state the other, and it's just a slip of the lip. Everybody does it. Barack Obama did it with 56 states or 58 states, and there was only 50. So,
I want to, yes, and we're going to get into those couple of subjects on Saturday night as well as others. I just want to read a couple of things, Byron. And, we talked about having some Democrats on the show. Well, my sister Leanne Nelson is on, and she is a Democrat. She lives in North Carolina. Hello, Leanne.
Good evening.
And she said, agrees with you, Byron. She said, yes, it was bad, and I thought he screwed it up. And then Leanne said, who she said is going to run a country? His vice president, the woman that will tell him how to do it, if that's who he chooses as his running mate, which I believe he has. Is that already?
No, he has not. What I'm hearing is Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing, but there are also people talking about I won't let that word come out of my mouth.
Well, I think that's
the lady that lost the election, the gubernatorial election in Georgia, which I think would be a horrible mistake. The other one that they talk about is Warren, Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is another one, and there has been some talk about Kamala Harris.
Right.
So those are the four that I hear things about. If they've got any sense, and it is the vice president is really running it, you better put Tulsi Gabbard in there, because she's the only one to me that has any sense out of those three or four.
Leanne, that was a great comment. You just heard Byron.
She's a Democrat, but she's not very left.
She's
not far left.
She's an old school. She's a moderate.
Yes,
she's
a moderate Democrat,
which hardly exists in the party anymore. But to me, if I am doing that, and I've got Joe Biden, I am having somebody that can think on their feet really fast and has some intelligence, and she seems to have it. I don't agree with the policies, but it would be better than the other three. Elizabeth Warren, she thinks she's a Native American and has none in her blood. Go read up on some of the antics of the lady that lost the governorships in Georgia, and you'll go, I don't think so. And Kamala Harris, if you start reading up on her policies, you better watch the black vote with her, because there are people in her state that will tell you what she did as a prosecutor was utterly wrong. So,
All right.
there's also the
we
ways
got
to
we
talk
got some
about that.
comments here, Byron. Say good night to your mom, by the way.
Good night, Mom.
Good
Love
night,
ya.
Mom. Good night, Miss Shirley. Over 40 years in government, my sister Leanne said she thinks that Joe Biden needed to be an age limit for this big job. As far as his age goes, and what is he? How old is he? 77,
He's 80, I think.
78. How old is he?
He's pushing 70s. I don't agree with that.
You don't.
No. I think that there needs to be some level of mental competency.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't believe there needs to be an age limit either, right?
Right.
Because there are very competent people into their 80s and 90s. Now, I don't want a 90-year-old man running the country because physically
And I think that's
he's not
what she's
capable
maybe
of doing that. But you have very fit 60, 70-year-olds.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And I watched a 70-year-old, said that, help put in flooring this weekend 2 days in a row.
Cassidy Udi said, and I'll just read it real quick, and I may be incredibly liberal, but we should never tell people of color how they are to feel or vote or define who they are. It isn't a white person's place to define what a person of color should believe. He shouldn't have said that. That's coming from a Democratic voter right there, and I appreciate you saying that, Cassidy.
I'll go one more. Shouldn't tell an American how to vote.
Right.
You should lay out your policies, and you should let Americans of all colors figure out what they want to do. Because when it boils down to it, what you really are is you're really not white, you're really not black, you're really not Hispanic, you're really not German, you're really not whatever hodgepodge I am. It all boils down to you're an American. When you start breaking people up into groups, it becomes what we get now. We need to stop that.
Yeah.
We've got to stop that.
All right, Leanne, and I agree. She says that Biden right now is making some bad choices lately here within the media and some of the other things he's doing. And that's coming from a Democrat now.
I feel sorry for the man. I really think he can't help but help this. I really do.
All right, here we go. Real quick, Michael Heater, I need you in here real quick. That's why I wanted you to come in here. I know we got on this subject.
All right.
Why don't you tell everybody? I know that Leanne says I needed a haircut, but Leanne had been watching her show. So why don't you tell my beautiful sister Leanne why I'm growing these Goldilocks?
All right. Well, Leanne and to everybody else that's out there on the show, for those of you that are not familiar, last week we kicked off a fundraising drive for the Bradford Food Pantry. The building itself has some significant structural issues. They are in desperate need of renovation. They need a refrigeration unit. They need running water and a sink. A lot of areas. The building they're utilizing is nearly 70 years old and was actually obtained during World War II as a military structure and eventually moved to the fairgrounds. All that being said, in addition to the renovations that are needed, they're always looking for contributions to help feed the needy in Bradford and Union counties. The big dog over here, the show pony himself, made the mistake of coming up with an idea of doing a little fundraiser. We ran with that idea. And how? So, to that end, if we can raise $5,000 using the PayPal link on the On the Spot with David Rodgers page, which is there, and we'll bump it up to the top again so you can see it. If we can raise $5,000 by July the 4th, the show pony himself will look like he just got out of military boot camp. But wait, there's more. The two gentlemen alongside, if we can hit $10,000, they will join him in the old military-style crew cut. $15,000 takes me down to a smooth top and mustache gone. And at $20,000, our lovely, long-haired executive producer will take off the 20 inches of hair he has in his ponytail and will have using that as part of our motivation for raising money. We want to get $20,000, but any little bit helps. You can visit us. You can send us an email for more information at onthespot32091@gmail.com. You can follow the PayPal link.
You're also forgetting that some of our viewers have said that if
Cassidy
and Dwight Allen
Dwight
said
Allen.
that they would do the same.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
if Cassidy, I believe, said she would do it
Yeah.
at the $5,000 level.
Yeah.
And Dwight said if we raised 10, he would join us, Mitchell and I, for that too.
So there'll be 5 of us up there at the $10,000
Yes.
level.
Yes. So more and more people are supporting this in that way. Any support that you can give us will help.
Right.
They have to have the structure fixed, and we need to at least get that $10,000 level.
And Michael, give them that number and where they can make those donations at, brother.
Absolutely. So there's a number of links that you can follow. Again, you can use the PayPal account that's listed on the Spot with David Rodgers page. If you'd like to submit a check, you can mail that check to Post Office Box 1094 in Stark. That's in care of the Bradford County Food Pantry. For those of you that are interested in a cash donation, or if you'd like to learn how you can volunteer to help out, which the volunteers are desperately needed, they're only at about 30% of what they really need to make the program work successfully. You can contact Betty Warren or Bob Milner at the shop there, usually during the week, but always on Fridays, at 904-964-3984.
All right. Real quick, just a real quick thought. 10 seconds, real quick.
God bless our military, and God bless this country.
Thank you. Michael Heater.
Just real quick here, look for temperatures to rebound into the 90s. Heat index of pushing 100 degrees as we go through the rest of this week. Scattered showers. Don't hold your breath on any significant rainfall. And again, visit us online. We would love to have your support.
Please.
We really do.
Yes.
Please.
David Holland, real quick.
Do you remember where it was made before China?
Yes.
Where what was made before China?
Everything.
Here.
Taiwan.
Okay, well, that's true.
Korea.
Well, still,
And
it still
before
is.
Taiwan,
Uh-huh.
USA.
All right. Mr. Mitchell got it.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
Great with the show. Did a great job tonight, by the way, brother. Just one quick thing. Rumor Control Hotline. If you're in a local area, 904-368-3943. Our very own director, Mr. Michael Heater, takes those calls. We will put the rumors to control. Want to thank our executive producer, Mr. Dave, our senior producer, should I say, Mr. Dave Holland. We want to thank our director, Mr. Michael Heater. To my left, Mr. Byron Bagwell, one of my co-hosts. To my right, Mr. Mitchell Gunner, and myself. Oh, boy, wait a minute. Are you kidding me? We've got $290 as the goal. That's what we got cash. Not knowing what the Bradford Food Pantry has, right, Michael?
Correct. That's right.
And the pledges that hasn't been officially put in.
Right.
This could be upwards of $3,000 right now. I
I was
don't
about
know.
to say it's almost $3,000.
I believe it's closer to $3,000, but that's $290 just in the account right there. And then you remember $50 the other night, so we'll update that. But anyway, I want to thank everybody that was on the show tonight. If we didn't get to your comments, Dwight, I know we were talking in the comment scroll. We will get to some of your comments on Saturday night. On behalf of the whole team, you got something really quick?
I just wanted to express my apologies, Paul Still. I know that you wanted to get on that. We just simply ran out of time. We will work on trying to get you on as quick as we can.
Yeah, and Paul, you know what? We will come to your place. I would love to see what you're working on over there, over in Samson City. You just get a hold of us, and we will come to you. On behalf of the whole team, my name is David Rodgers. We will be back with you Saturday night at 7 p.m. God bless you guys. Have a great week, a great weekend. We love each and every one of you. God bless the USA, and God bless our military. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night, everybody.